Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Snow Leopard Network webinar. And my name is Bayarmaa, and I'm from WCS Mongolia program, work as a senior scientist. And first of all, I would like to thank Snow Leopard Network for giving us opportunity to talk about the saiga antelope. So to give some background, so there are two species of saiga. So the saiga tatarica is mainly found in Kazakhstan and smaller population found in Uzbekistan and Russia. On the other hand, Mongolian saiga, which is endemic to Western Mongolia, there are about 15,000 individuals. So saiga faces a number of challenges, and the most pressing one is the habitat degradation by livestock grazing. Currently, saiga shares the habitat with our 2 million livestock. So given the livestock is the most serious impact on the pasture, it's important to understand the diet. So today I would like to introduce today's speaker, the Bayarmaa. Bayarmaa is a recently graduate from National University of Mongolia, currently works as a wildlife biologist at WCS Mongolia program. So her master thesis examined the diets of taiga and livestock, and also looking at the interaction, how they interact seasonally. So please share us your story, Bayarmaa.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be joining from. Thank you for introducing me. My name is Bayarmaa, and I am a wildlife biologist with the Mongolia program of the Wildlife Conservation Society. I would like to start by expressing my sincere thanks to the Snow Leopard Network for this opportunity to present my research today. So, a little about my background. I'm 22 years old, and I have been actively involved in conservation efforts for over 10 years, working to protect endangered species like the snow leopard, Mongolian saiga, and Dalmatian pelican. My conservation journey started early when, at 11 years old, I became the leader of my high school's eco club. I initiated a highly successful anti-trap campaign where we exchanged job traps from household items. You know, a project that was generously supported by WWF Mongolia. Alongside other eco club members, we managed to exchange our 1,000 traps, which posed a serious threat to wildlife in Western Mongolia, including, endangered species like the snow leopard. So you can see some of the photos of our anti-trap campaign. After high school, I pursued my passion for conservation by enrolling at the National University of Mongolia to study conservation ecology. During my time there, I participated in significant research projects, it's including such as countrywide snow leopard population assessment and Mongolian saiga reintroduction feasibility survey and East Asian's last Dalmatian pelicans population survey. As an undergraduate, I also conducted my own research on the diet composition of the Mongolian saiga, which played an important role in identifying suitable areas for their reintroduction. Most recently, I completed my master's degree in ecology at the National University of Mongolia last spring, where I focus on the seasonal dietary overlap between Mongolian saiga and livestock. Today, I am excited to share some of my insight from my research. All right, okay. In today's presentation, I will be covering the following key topics. Okay. You are what you eat. Actually, it's an old saying that highlights how an animal's diet plays a crucial role in shaping its behavior, ecology, and survival. In herbivores, food availability often limits population size, and understanding their diet helps us explore key ecological theories like optimal foraging theory and niche breed. This knowledge is essential for understanding ungulate ecology and has practical conservation application. To effectively conserve other, such as endangered herbivores, it is crucial to understanding their diets and feeding behaviors, especially in the face to threats like climate change and habitat loss. Our grazing by livestock is a major concern as it degrades habitats and reduces the availability of high-quality forage. While studies exist on the Mongolian wildlife diets, no comprehensive research has explored the seasonal dietary overlap between Mongolian saiga and livestock. One of the endangered species we focus on is the Mongolian saiga, an iconic antelope that traces its origins back to the Ice Age. This unique and endemic species inhabits the semi-desert ecosystem of the Great Lakes Basin in the western Mongolia. The Mongolian saiga is a symbol of the region's ancient ecological heritage and serves as a critical species for understanding the biodiversity of this arid ecosystem. Also, Mongolian saiga, to protect this species, several international and regional networks have recognized its vulnerable status. So you can see on this slide, IUCN, CMS, CITES, and Mongolian government. While the Mongolian saiga is legally protected both internationally and within Mongolia, it continues to face significant challenges. Despite these protections, various factors have contributed to the degradation of its habitat and decline in population numbers. This includes livestock overgrazing, reduces the availability of forage, natural extremes like harsh winters and summer droughts, also disease outbreaks, and the persistent threat of poaching. So far, several studies have already investigated the diet composition of the Mongolian saiga using various methods, but first approach was direct rumen analysis conducted by Van Nicol, and other methods included binocular observation of plant consumption, field collections of ingested flora, and use of non-degradable component in fecal analysis. However, while these studies have provided valuable insight, they were often limited to a small number of individuals and didn't capture to a broader population. Additionally, despite the importance of livestock grazing in saiga's habitat, there is currently no comprehensive study that explores the dietary overlap between Mongolian saiga and livestock. During this webinar, we present findings from fecal analysis of Mongolian saiga, goat, sheep, camel, and horse. We excluded cows from the analysis due to their limited presence in the study area. Also, our primary goal of this study was to comprehensively investigate the diet composition, plant diversity, niche breed, and seasonal dietary overlap between these herbivores. We hypothesized that Mongolian saiga, being free-ranging, therefore would exhibit a wider dietary diversity and niche breed compared to livestock, whose movements are constrained by herders. Also, second, our hypothesis is we expected that ruminants, it's including Mongolian saiga, sheep, and goat, would display a higher degree of dietary overlap with each other than with pseudo-ruminant camels and non-ruminant horse. Finally, we predicted that the dietary overlap between Mongolian saiga and livestock would increase during resource-poor season, such as winter, when food scarcity forces greater competition for limited resources. Okay, you can see our study area on this slide. The area bordered by the expansive Alta mountain range, lakes and sand dunes with elevation ranging from 900 to 4,050 meters. Over the past 2 years, we collected pickle samples from the Mongolian saiga and livestock across different seasons in the Great Lakes Basin, which is located western part of the Mongolia. Also, you can see the location where we collected samples, which are situated within the distribution area of Mongolian saiga. We collected fresh pickle samples from observed Mongolian saiga to ensure the accuracy of our data. After locating and observing the saiga and other livestock animals, we waited until they moved away and promptly gathered fresh samples, focusing on warm, moist fields to confirm the source. In total, we collected 124 individual pickle samples from Mongolian saiga and 476 samples from livestock. These samples were gathered across all 4 seasons. So this collection's effort was conducted in close cooperation with local saiga rangers and was coordinated by WWF Mongolia program. Concurrently with collecting pickle samples, we established 50-meter quadrats centered around each pickle deposition site to gather plant species that could potentially be consumed by Mongolian saiga and livestock. In total, we gathered specimens from 120 different plant species. To analyze the diet composition of the Mongolian saiga and livestock, we used a microhistological method. While several methods have been already developed to study herbivore diets, but microhistology and DNA barcoding are considered among the most effective for obtaining detailed data on diet composition. Microhistology remains a valuable technique, particularly for long-term monitoring due to its simplicity and effectiveness. This method also allows us to precisely identify plant species in pickle analysis by comparing the microscopic characteristics of the ingested plant material to known reference slide. From this slide, you can see on this slide all of the stable and crucial microanatomical character of leaf. Currently, we have already developed a key for microhistological determination of common plants of the semi-desert in Mongolia. It's including 100 developed plant species. So we identified and photographed unique characteristics of plant fragments and measured cell shape, size, arrangement, and observed stomata and trihome details. On this slide, you can see basic kinds of the stomatal arrangement and epidermal cell shape. Also, you can see basic kinds of the epidermal cell wall and trihome. Microhistological method remains one of the most well-established techniques because it involves identifying plant fragments based on the stable and crucial characteristics like cell size, shape, and arrangement using a reference collection of known plant species. While DNA barcoding has become a more precise option in recent years, but microhistology is still a valuable method, especially for long-term monitoring. Therefore, because it's simply and effectiveness. And for the analysis, we focused on several important ecological indexes and conducted various statistical analyses. We utilized RStudio along with the Vegan and iNext package to analyze the data and generate visual representation. Okay, so finally our result, we analyzed our totally 270,000 plant fragments from our 600 pickle samples, identifying them at both and species and genus levels. In total, we 56% of the fragments could be identified at species level, while 44% were classified at the genus level. Analysis of sample completeness we using rarefaction curves. It's okay. Our study on the dietary habits of the Mongolian saiga revealed a diverse diet consisting of the 48 plant species across 21 families. The primary source of their diet were species from the Poatia and Amarantacea families. When examining the dietary preferences of the goat and sheep, we found that their diet included 37 plant species from 80 families, with the Amarantacea family being the dominant contributor. For camels, our analysis identified 28 plant species from 30 families in their diet, where the Amarantacea family also dominated. For horse, finally, our research on horses showed a diverse diet comprising 23 plant species from 11 families. The Amarantacea family made up the largest portion of their diet, followed by Poatia and Polynesia. And another important result is about their diet functional groups. From these findings, we can see that throughout the diet of the Mongolian saiga consists of balanced mix of grass, herb, and shrub. However, for sheep, goat, and camels, shrub and herbs play a more prominent role in their forage. In contrast, horses rely much more on grasses than on shrub and herb. Herbivores often adapt to mixed feeding strategy, consuming a different proportion of the shrub, herb, and grasses. Based on this traditional knowledge, herbivores are classified based on their grass consumption in 3 categories. Firstly, browser, mixed feeders, and grazer. Our result is indicated that the Mongolian saiga is thus categorized as mixed feeders, while camels and goat, sheep are classified as browsers, and horses grazers. Furthermore, the Mongolian saiga demonstrated a greater variety of plant species in their diet compared to livestock. This wider range of consumed species suggested that the saiga are more flexible in their dietary choices, which is crucial for surviving in their variable environment. And building on this, our findings showed that throughout their Mongolian saiga maintained a more diverse diet than livestock. This dietary diversity likely provides the saiga with greater ability to adapt the seasonal changes in plant availability, offering them an advantage in coping. And in additionally, their diverse diet, Mongolian saiga exhibited broader dietary niche breed compared to livestock. Both saiga and livestock, however, showed higher dietary niche breed diversity and richness during the summer and autumn seasons, when resources were more abundant. Also, in contrast to the lower diversity observed during the resource limited seasons of the winter and spring season, our findings revealed that the Mongolian saiga exhibit greater dietary richness, diversity, and niche breed compared to livestock. According to the Hofmans, mixed feeders like the Mongolian saiga should, and indeed our data suggests to have broader ecological niche compared to browser and grazers. This dietary flexibility appears to contribute to the saiga's resilience in varied environmental conditions and has supported their survival since the late Pleistocene. Another important result is about diet overlap between Mongolian saiga and livestock. We can say Mongolian saiga's diet overlap with livestock varying degrees throughout the year. Overall, they share the most dietary overlap with sheep, followed by goat, camel, and horse. Sheep and goat have the highest overlap with each other, while horse and camels have the least overlap. Overall, these results show that the Mongolian saiga's diet overlaps most consistently with sheep across all seasons, followed by goat, horse, and camels. The highest dietary overlap occurs in autumn and spring, particularly with sheep and goat. In contrast, the lowest overlap is observed during the summer and winter season. So it's one of the most important visualization of our result. Here you can see the dietary niche of the Mongolian saiga compared to livestock. As illustrated, the Mongolian saiga has broader dietary niche than livestock species, highlighting their ability to consume a more diverse range of plants. Additionally, the dietary overlap among livestock species is higher, indicating that livestock rely more heavily on similar food resources, whereas the saiga show greater levels of dietary flexibility compared to livestock. Finally, we can see it's our main key outcome and hypothesis. This study provides the first comprehensive insight into the diet composition of the Mongolian saiga and livestock in western part of the Mongolia. Our findings confirm that Mongolian saiga is mixed feeders, exhibit broader dietary niche breed, greater diversity, and richer diets compared to livestock. Also, our hypothesis first was supported. Our findings revealed that Mongolian saiga exhibit greater dietary richness, diversity, and niche breed compared to livestock. By contrast, we can see traditional Mongolian nomadic herding practices may limit the dietary diversity of livestock because by restricting their movement to specific seasonal camps. It's leading to narrower diet compared to wild ungulates. Also, our second hypothesis was supported. As predicted, our observation showed that dietary overlap is greater among ruminants. It's including Mongolian saiga, sheep, and goat, compared to the pseudo-ruminant camel and non-ruminant horse. The significant overlap between Mongolian saiga, sheep, and goat are likely due to their similar digestive system and body size. Therefore, the rapid increase in the livestock numbers, particularly goat and sheep, across the saiga's range in intensifying competition for resource and causing displacement. Therefore, we need implementing better herding practices, such as creating non-grazing areas or controlling livestock numbers, or could help mitigate this impact in the future. Finally, our third hypothesis was not supported because, contrary to our expectations, our study revealed that dietary overlap between livestock and Mongolian saiga was lower in winter and summer compared to autumn and spring. This is because the seasonal migration of herders moving to depressions in spring and autumn and to mountains in summer and winter reduces competition. In summer, depression of the Great Lakes high temperature and insect, mosquito and fly make depressions unsuitable for herding. While in winter, herders relocate to mountain camps for shelter from extreme temperatures, which are not typical saiga habitats. Therefore, these seasonal changes in herding practices likely decrease food competition between saiga and livestock during summer and winter. However, during spring and autumn, when herders remain in wild use, therefore dietary overlap increases. So finally, we can base it on these results. In conclusion, the dietary flexibility of Mongolian saiga enables them to reduce interspecific competition and adapt to diverse conditions. This adaptability enhances their resilience to environmental changes. So, how herding communities may respond to the future environmental variation will be key to maintaining the favorable conservation status. Okay, finally, firstly, thank you for Snow Leopard Network for inviting this webinar. Also, this research was made possible through the generous support of the Wildlife Conservation Network and Saiga Conservation Alliance and Wildlife Science and Conservation Center of Mongolia. Their financial and contributions were instrumental in facilitating this Saiga study. So I want to talk to deeply indebted to researcher from WWF Mongolia, particularly Dr. Researcher Mok Toktok and researcher Sirgin, and the dedicated team of Mongolian saiga rangers whose diligent efforts in collecting fecal samples from the both Mongolian saiga and livestock. Yes. So, okay, thank you for attending this presentation.
Right. Thank you, Bayarmaa, for very, very interesting presentation. And I'm pretty sure the results from this research have a lot of implication to inform, inform the better management of the livestock, given the numbers are increasing exponentially, not only within saiga range, but also throughout the country. So now we can take questions, and also if you have any questions, you can also write in the chat box. So just a little bit background on the saiga population dynamic. And in 2017, there was a disease outbreak occurred saiga population, and that caused mortality of like 60% of the species. And it's actually, this disease actually from the livestock. So again, it's really important to understand, how they interact in terms of dietary as well as especially. So yeah, this is a really important study.
Can I ask one question? This is Nadia from Snow Leopard Conservation Foundation.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Bayarmaa, for interesting presentation. And I'm sure it takes a lot of work and effort to accomplish this work. It may be not directly related with your research, but I just curious to know, because quite amount of dietary composition is overlaps with this livestock. And when you were in the field, how local people react to this saiga, like maybe they might sharing these vegetations and they might don't like it, or even in just as a research, how did you feel about it, and how local people attitude towards this saiga populations and this dietary composition?
Thank you. Related to this question, I think we need improving of the local knowledge about saigas and livestock diet, especially local herding families often perceive that the Mongolian saiga compete with livestock for pasture, especially during winter months when resources are scarce. We can say this perception leads to saiga being driven away from their natural habitats, where they would otherwise graze alongside livestock. Our study found that the degree of dietary overlap between Mongolian saiga and livestock different by seasonally, being least significant, especially least significant in winter and summer than in spring and autumn. I think it's essential to provide herding communities with accurate information on their seasonal dietary habits and foraging overlaps of the saiga and livestock to avoid saiga being driven away in the future. Therefore, educating herders about saiga ecology and their dietary needs can foster a more supportive conservation environment work.
Good, thanks for your response, Bayarmaa. In the chat box, I see some questions. The first one is, did you perceive any changes related to climate change according to the literature and your research? Can you answer to this question, Bayarmaa?
Okay. According to the literature, climate change is expected to have significant impact on ecosystem, particularly in semi-desert environments like those where the Mongolian saiga and livestock live. Rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, and increased frequency of extreme weather events can directly affect the availability of forage and water resources, leading to shifts in habitat suitability. From my own research, while we didn't directly measure climate change effect, and we can infer some potential impacts. For example, we can say seasonal dietary patterns of Mongolian saiga and livestock could become more pronounced as climate change affect plant growth cycle, in particularly shifts in temperature and precipitation may be altering availability, not yet.
Okay, and also in addition to Bayarmaa's response, also there is an increased frequency of natural extremes that includes drought and harsh winter. Those also have those periodic, extreme events also cause mass mortality of the species. That's also visible not only within saiga, also rest of the country. And the second question is, given the overlap between livestock and Mongolian saiga dietary practices, do you think the expansion of industrial livestock in Mongolia could have its first impact on Mongolian saiga?
Yeah, expansions of the industrial livestock could indeed have adverse impact on the Mongolian saiga, especially given the dietary overlap between saiga and livestock. My research shows that the Mongolian saiga share significant portion of their diet with livestock, particularly sheep and goat, which increases competition for food, especially during critical seasons. You can see like spring and autumn.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, currently we have like a 15,000 individuals of saiga that shares habitat with our 2 million. So basically, saiga ranges, heavily degraded due to this large number of livestock. Basically, there is no room to expand. So given that the large number and also dietary overlap, they're going to be impact for the saiga and other wildlife species in the region. And the next question is how much of habitat is there overlap between saiga and livestock, and are there places where there is no contact between saiga and livestock? Can you answer this question, Bayarmaa?
The overlap between saiga and livestock occurs in a significant portion of their habitat, particularly in areas where herders bring their livestock to graze during the key seasons.
Yeah, I think I can add on to your response. So saiga share habitat, with livestock. Basically, there is livestock across the entire saiga range, but some, use the saiga habitat during the summer and autumn, and some use during the winter. There is some dynamic in the, livestock in the region, but there is no place, where no livestock. Basically, all over the place there is livestock where saiga exists. And there is another question. In the saiga diet, any toxic or unpalatable plant identified in your study?
We can say in our study, we didn't specifically focus on the identifying toxic or unpalatable plants in the Mongolian saiga's diet, but none of the plant species we identified were known to be harmful or toxic to the saiga. The saiga, saiga are mixed feeders with a highly adaptable diet, and they tend to avoid plants that are toxic or non-palatable. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And we have another question. Is there any predator presence impact movement of saiga and livestock? If it doesn't, does it have impact on diet selection or interaction between saiga and livestock? Can you answer this question, Bayarmaa?
Actually, it's one of the difficult questions, but predator presence can indeed impact to movement patterns of both Mongolian saiga and livestock, which in turn could influence their diet selection and interactions. Yeah, saiga, like other prey species, are highly vigilant in areas where predators such as wolves, are present.
I think it's really hard to evaluate the impacts of predator presence on the diet selection. There are actually very few predators. Wolf can prey on saiga, and also golden eagle prey on saiga. These are the main predators for the adult saiga. But wolves are heavily hunted throughout the saiga range, and I think they have less impact on the diet selection, but it's really hard to tell. We have another question. Have you perceived any direct impact of livestock and practice expansion over the population of saiga?
One of the most significant impacts is competition for forage, especially during resource scarce seasons, like spring and autumn. As livestock numbers rise, particularly sheep and goat, the overlap in grazing areas become more pronounced, leading to reduced availability of high-quality forage for saiga. This maybe can directly affect the saiga's ability to find enough food, impacting their body condition and reproductive success over time.
And I also add on to Bayarmaa's response. So saiga range in Western Mongolia is surrounded by like a massive Altai mountain range and lakes and sand dunes. Basically, it's more like island, and within the island they share habitat with livestock, and definitely they compete for the pasture. And also another important resource is water point, and there are very few water points in dry system, and so most of livestock occupy those important water points, and basically displacing saiga. So definitely they have some impact. Right, we have one more question. Do you have any knowledge of the tradition of snow leopards over saiga and livestock in the region?
Actually, based on my knowledge, predation of the Mongolian saiga by snow leopards has not been widely documented, not registered yet, and it's not considered a common occurrence.
So again, I want to add on that. So I did my master on saiga calf survival, and basically we put the reactor collar on saiga cows and monitored their survival. And one of collared calf was killed by lynx. You know, that's all. That was the only case that tiger preyed by a cat. So for the snow leopard, I also haven't heard that any predation cases. But there are also, snow leopard in the mountains neighboring the tiger range, which also overlap with the livestock, and there are also some conflicts between snow leopard and livestock in the area, but not for the tiger. If there's no question, we can end today's webinar, and thank you for your time to attending this webinar, and I hope that you learned a lot about the saiga food habits in Mongolia. Thank you.
Okay, so we have had a wonderful presentation by Bayarmaa. As being young researcher, it's amazing to see, how her work has been really informative and to us. It's very interesting. Thank you so much. And also thank you very much for Dr. Buebatter to facilitating this interesting webinar. And thank you everyone for visiting today's webinar, and see you next time.